What's going on, guys? Gabe here with ReviewDork, and today we have the Asus ROG G14, and I'm really excited about this laptop, and I may be a little late coming to this party, but this is a serious laptop with some serious affordability, and wow. Now, before we get into the specs and what makes it special, just want to preface this, that for $1449, you're getting an amazing deal. The price to performance is unlike anything you're going to find out there. In fact, for those who want to venture off onto the Dell Alienware, which I have, and I may or may not have spent too much money, but Applejacks, cue me in, man. Alright, so we are looking at the Razer Blade 15. Now, this is the base edition. You're getting a 10th gen Intel Core i7-10750H with 6 cores. That means 12 threads, guys. So you're getting 12 threads. Alright, base clock 2.6 with turbo boost up to 5 gigahertz. And of course, you're getting a 15-inch Full HD 144 Hz display with 100% RGB coverage. Now, there's always room for speculation when any company makes that claim. This device here has 96% sRGB coverage. Not that you're gonna notice. So Applejacks, I'm pretty excited about the Spider 5 coming in. We get to calibrate the monitors.
Yeah, it should definitely show what each laptop can do.
Now, he's a photographer, and his monitor is not calibrated. Like
Don't judge me.
That's like being a race car driver with no gas. It just doesn't work that way. Now, going back to the Razer Blade site, we're loaded with 16 gigs of RAM and 512 gigs of SSD, M.2 NVMe. Now, I want you guys to pay very close attention to this price. $1,799. Woo! Wow, welcome back to school, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to be spending an arm, leg on top of tuition, all to distance learn. It's pre-recorded videos. You guys are going to get a bachelor's degree with pre-recorded videos. Okay, so let's go back. We got the monitor here. Now we're going to open up the Dell. This is the Alienware M15R3. Now let's look at these specs. We have 16 gigs of RAM, an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 2060, 1 terabyte of M.2 SSD, 10th generation i7-10750H, 6 cores, 12 megabyte cache, up to 5.1 gigahertz turbo boost, and you get a price here. Woo! That's expensive. Now, I don't know about you, but I like saving money. And I'm all about the value proposition. But the reason why we showed you these systems and these prices is because, well, the i7-10750H is the prevalent CPU in these mid to high tier PCs. For $1,449, you are getting a 14-inch powerhouse. That's the only way to explain this, guys. For $1,449, we have already compared this to the Dells and the Razer Blades. These are the brands that people are going to go to, they're going to buy from. But this is packing 16 gigs of RAM, 1 terabyte storage, a 2060 RTX. But what makes this so special outside of the 2060, outside of the 16 gigs of RAM, outside of the fact that it's just absolutely beautiful, what makes this special? Well, this is the first AMD based CPU we have reviewed on the channel. And I tell you what, after my entanglement, I'm not going to the red table. I'm sticking with Team Red, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. Wow. When it comes to performance, it's not even close. Okay, so it's kind of hard to talk about a display through a camera. It's kind of hard to show you. It's one of those things where you got to see it to believe it, but it's a 120 Hz display. Granted, Those other PCs I mentioned have a 144 Hz display, but you guys are going to have an aha moment in a second. It does have some slim bezels, and I'm going to go ahead and turn this around so you guys can see. We got the slim bezels here. You're not getting a webcam, and that's fine. That's fine. No webcam, who cares? You're buying $2,600 MacBook Pros for some crappy 720p cameras. Y'all know that when you buy these things, you're gonna slap on a Logitech, a 1080p at least, or a Logitech Rio 4K. That's what you're going to do. So the omission of a webcam is not really a deal breaker. Now, going back to the design here, I want you guys to check out, all right, we got a profile look here. Not an overhead Applejack, switch to profile. Okay, so here, I want you guys to look at this. See this back part here, right? It's beautiful. There's form and there's function. The ergonomics, and we get the overhead cam. You guys can see I got some big hands, but I find this satisfying. The keyboard is actually really good. Now the trackpad, not as big as, let's say, a Dell XPS, and I think the Dell XPS just gets too much credit for looking like a MacBook. I don't get that. I don't get it. Great machine, don't get me wrong. $1,300, you do some data entry, some simple stuff, great, go for it. Not RGB, you won't get RGB. And that's another thing I could appreciate about this design. You could sit over at Starbucks. You're sitting there, looking important. You see a hot tamale walk in. You're looking important. You're not looking like a gamer. You look like you're doing something, even though you're just on Minecraft. I never thought there would be much of a difference between 15 and 14 inches, but Applejacks, there really is a difference.
Yeah, it's a pretty big difference.
But I feel like this is just a happy medium. Now you have a MacBook 13, right? Mm-hmm. You have a MacBook 13? I mean, do you feel like you get enough real estate with that?
Only when I'm video editing, I think it's really small, but in terms of photo editing, it's...
On the side here, we have the ports. Now, one gripe I have is the power adapter. The input's right there. So if you're connecting other peripherals, such as the HDMI or a USB-C here, that power adapter can get in the way. But thank God this has up to 10 hours of battery life. Now you don't get Thunderbolt. You're not going to get Thunderbolt on this side. You're not going to get Thunderbolt on this side. These are USB-Cs. We got some USB Type A's. We want to go ahead and get on over to the overhead cam. Applejacks, get there, because I want you guys to check out these vents. Remember, form and function. We do have to talk about heat dissipation and how it affects the chassis, because this is a 14-inch system. So the smaller, the more compact things are, the tighter components are sitting together. It gets hot. Surface temperatures on this, we tested. By the vents, we were getting as high as 108 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
On the back side, as you guys can see, we got some more venting back here, but this area right here was hitting 116 degrees under load. Now, before we get into the highlight of this, I just want to mention, because, well, we are on the chassis, we have tweeter speakers on either side. But when we flip her over, we have subwoofers. So we got a quad array speaker system. We got pretty loud. What were we getting at Applejacks? Was that 86 dBs? 86 dB coming out of this system. That is loud. That is impressive. In fact, we compared it to the Dell XPS, which in the studio happened to be one of the loudest. And I should have mentioned while we were talking about the fans that the fans can in fact get loud. Just as much as you feel them, you're gonna hear it. Between 46 and 50 decibels, it does get loud. So, just keep that in mind when you're putting your CPU under load, how loud it can get. Just put on some damn headphones. Everyone puts on headphones. Applejacks, you put on headphones?
All the time.
Or do you annoy people and no?
Yeah.
Imagine just walking around and just like blasting Sesame Street through your PC. And just asking people, can you tell me how to get to Sesame Street? That'd be annoying as hell. That's something we should do. When the world opens up, we're going to the airport and we're going to ask people how to get to Sesame Street. The CPU is the star of the show. Now, I did some comparisons. We did some benchmarks. We did a Cinebench. Release 20. Now, before you guys go ahead and beat me up and say, well, it's not fair that you're going to benchmark a 10750H, which is an i7. It's a 6-core versus an AMD Ryzen 4000 series 4900HS, which is 8 cores and 16 threads. I make this comparison because, again, the 10750H is omnipresent in all these laptops that are smacking you left and right and demanding $1,500, $1,700, $1,800. You're getting this nice package for $1,449. And it destroyed it. It wasn't even close. Applejacks, we gotta throw the sheets up here. We're gonna get some overlays in the video, right? It's just gonna pop up here, right? There's more space on this side, so we're gonna make sure that those stats pop up right about now. Okay, stats are up. It's not even close, guys. Check it out. It's ridiculous. So, you're getting better multi-core performance. You're getting better single-core performance.
But wait! There's more!
It's a gaming PC. Now, it's funny I say gaming PC, and you know, the design here, by the way, guys, if you spend up to $1,999, you get some LED matrix going on here. But who wants that? I like stealth. I like going unnoticed. That's why my Corvette just drives me crazy. I have a 2020 C8 Corvette and I have to drive with the windows up because I never know when I'm going to end up on camera. Applejacks knows this, but Applejacks likes to have the windows down and show his curls. Don't you ever do that again. But this is stealth. No crazy RGB lighting. Come on. 25, 30, 40 years old. Don't be running around with RGB lighting. Can't talk game performance without talking about the 120Hz display. Thank you, Asus, for just being honest with us with a 120Hz display. We got Dell, we got Razer Blade. They're selling you a 144Hz display. They're like, come on, it's better. But listen, a 1660 Ti, a 2060 is not gonna push any game to 144Hz unless you have it at, no, not even at high quality, not even at low quality. You probably have to go Atari 2600 quality just to get a full 144Hz. In fact, my Alienware behind me has a 2080 RTX, and it was able to hit 144Hz, but that's a 2080. So the G14 with 120Hz 2060 RTX GPU with Gears of War 5 at Ultra, the Ultra settings, 77 frames per second. Now on Forza 4, at Ultra we were hitting 97 frames per second. And at High we were hitting 113 frames per second. Again with a 2060. Now the Area 51 at Ultra was hitting 139 frames per second. It was maxing out at 144 frames per second because the refresh rate limit on the display was 144Hz. Now granted, I can connect the Samsung Odyssey 49-inch 240Hz. I think I'm gonna get my hands on that. I've got to replace this bad boy back there. If we're gonna be reviewing games, playing games, wanna push it to its max, which means I'm gonna have to do a PC build, which I am doing a PC build, which I am building with AMD. I told you I am not going back. Will Smith, you could go back to Jada, she's hot. Intel's not that pretty to me. Now for content creators, sure, you would probably want to opt for the 32 gigs of RAM. And the reason why I say this is when I refer to content creators, I'm referring to vloggers who vlog in 4K, or streamers who stream at 1080, but also have a camera connected, but also have chats going. You got a lot of things going on, so you need a lot of RAM. It's on the conversation of RAM. This is the 16 gig version. You can opt for the 32 gig version, but for those who buy the 16 gig and find yourself wanting to upgrade, you could only upgrade one stick as 8 gigs of RAM are soldered onto the motherboard. And I can't make out the brand of the stick. We know that the clock is at 3200 And ideally what you would want to do is match the RAM speed and ideally paired with the same RAM size. Why? Because if you mismatch, let's say you have 8 gigs on the motherboard, but 16 gigs on the RAM, what ends up happening is that the system will dual channel the first 8 gigs of RAM on your 16 gig stick and then single channel the rest of the 8 gigs. A performance increase, sure, but not the optimal performance increase. And while we are on the internals, we see we have a 76 watt-hour battery. And look at these fins, nice fins. There are 81 blades per fan. And just the intricacy of the cooling here, pretty cool. But again, if you want 32 gigs of RAM, you should opt for the 32 gig system. But if you still want to save some money at 16 gigs of RAM for content creators, vloggers, you're recording 1080p, upscale to 4K. Matty Apua did it. Peter McKinnon did it his whole career. In fact, these videos are recorded in 1080p and upscale to 4K, which this PC can crunch through. With an export time, 3-minute video took 1 minute and 5 seconds. Now, disclaimer. I have to put it out there. The Intel-based CPUs did it a tad bit faster. And that's thanks to QuickSync and how that's integrated with Premiere Pro, just like NVIDIA is integrated with Premiere Pro. It's just optimized. So Intel's QuickSync definitely gives it somewhat a performance boost. By about 9 seconds though. 9 seconds isn't gonna disrupt your life very much. I don't know, Applejack, can you wait 9 seconds? That's why I hired him, he could count. I really have no use for this G14, other than reviewing it. I can take it back to Best Buy and just pay the 15% restocking fee because I am using my own money. You hear me, Asus? I'm using my own money. But instead of doing that, we'll be giving this bad boy away. Gabe with ReviewDork, I'm signing out. Peace!